Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the live stream. Today's talk is called I struggle with people's stupidity and ignorance, how to not react. Okay. So first of all, like always, I will speak to you first about what non-duality is, and then we will go into answering the question. For those of you that are new, I just want to give a disclaimer that this isn't therapy. Sometimes people get it mixed up with therapy because often when you're exploring the nature of yourself, you simultaneously do therapy, or look at the ego structure, or look at your suffering dynamics, and then the mind equates it with therapy. But it's really not therapy, it's going beyond the story. In therapy, you're working to heal the story, to change the story, possibly, or to accept the story, maybe. But in non-duality, we are asking what is beyond the story. Who are you beyond the story of you? Yeah. So, what is non-duality? Also, another comment is that all teachers will talk about this in different ways. So this is this body's unique take on what non-duality is. However, mostly it's all pointing to the same thing, but maybe sometimes the teacher's pointing to something else. They think they're pointing to this. Yeah. So non-duality is the most divine subject there is. To me, it's freedom. To me, whatever that is, to this body, to this, it's the only way out of suffering. As a human that is identified with the human story, inevitably suffering arrives. And what I mean by suffering is a dis-ease with what is. A discomfort with what is, which then creates a seeking to try to get out of what is, of what's actually happening right now. So non-duality is a pointing back to that which you are prior to the person, prior to that illusion. The person will inevitably get more and more into suffering as that story is invested in. The more effort that is spent to be someone, to try and be someone, to try and have a happy life, to try and mimic what other people have sold to you as a happy life, will inevitably lead to heartache, because you won't be able to find what you're looking for in that, ever. And that's a really hard pill to swallow. When you get into non-duality, we're so used to living to this positive story, you know. If you think about the 80s films of like the happily ever after, we're so used to beating ourselves up for not having made the right choices, and to dream about this happily ever after that we're going to arrive at when we get a better partner, when we get more money, get a better job, when the kids grow up, when you have a kid, when you get more friends, get more family. The nature of imagination is doing this so automatically and all the time that it's a very hard pill to swallow that that's never going to work out. In fact, until there is a deep investigating into what you are, there won't be any openness or acceptance to that. So there's to be a very profound and deep experience there to really realize that the story of you and your life is a story of suffering that will not work out. That's a really hard thing to say. This is why I say this is not therapy. If you need therapy, go to therapy. This is really a hardcore subject and absolute divinity. But your life will not work out. You can have better lives and worse lives, but it's not like you imagine. This happily ever after, when you get this or that or whatever you dream of, is never going to happen. Never. And even if you feel like it does happen for a brief period, you'll then begin to get paranoid that life will take it away, because you know deep down nothing lasts forever. So then you'll ruin it because of paranoia of trying to hold on to it. So say you get the lover, the most amazing lover, and you're like, oh my God, they are the one, I want to be with them forever. You'll then get paranoid that you'll lose them. You get paranoid that they'll have a car crash. You get paranoid that they'll leave you. You get paranoid that it will end. And then you start behaving in ways to try to make sure you keep it. You start selling yourself. You start compromising yourself to try to keep that, to beg with life, like, please let me keep this. If I behave like that, if I behave like this, if I don't say this when they are rude, if I don't react, if I become more passive, if I do react and put them in their place, then they will stay, or then we'll have the perfect relationship. It's a dream. It's all a dream. It's like a donkey chasing after a carrot on a stick that's dangled in front of it. It's really a dream. Anything, even the idea of enlightenment, is a daydream for the person. However, you often need to have that daydream in order to investigate inwards, to go inwards, to ask, who am I? This dream of you and your life and how you want it to work out is all imagined. All of it. All of it isn't reality and isn't who you are. It's all imagination. All of it. And it's in that imagination you suffer. In the imagining of you, in the imagining of this perfect life that you'll get to, in the imagining of this perfect person you'll be. If, or the imagining of the hells that will come. The mind is a wild storm that is uncontainable, and the tragedy of the mind is it tends to tell stories of problems and overcoming problems or failing with problems, because the mind is a tool to help us fix our environment, to make it better, to make it more habitable, to make it easier. So then when you apply that to yourself, it's always going to be finding problems. And then projecting those problems on your partner, on your parents, on yourself. You could even go inwards where you attack yourself, on your neighbours, on your environment, on your house, on your living circumstance, on your job. All hell's projected in all types of ways. And the person, all people, like all these billions of people walk around in these bubbles of themselves, and these bubbles of these stories they're telling, and blaming, and guilting, and shaming. What hells people walk around in. And then, to try and feel better about themselves, they go on to social media, trying to paint a perfect life that's better than other people. And that might give relief, that might give satisfaction, but then you have to keep chasing to catch up with the Joneses. So right now, if you think that you're sitting listening to me give a talk, you're in a dream already. You're already in a dream. If you think you're sitting in your country listening to a talk on the internet, you're in a dream. If you think you're in a relationship, if you think you have kids, you're in a dream. This is how radical it is. You're in a dream already. There's nothing wrong with the formation of thoughts as long as you know they are illusory, a dream, and not true. Some have more alignment with reality than others. Like I'm not sitting in a hurricane now, but like that's one that's not so in line. Like the weather is pleasant, but it's not a truth that the weather is pleasant. Those are words, sounds that are put together to mean something, but they're a thought, imagining. They're not a truth of what is. What is silent, still, where everything is happening. What is has imagination appearing and disappearing, but isn't deluded by it. It is in itself. Who you are in yourself, perfectly still, experiencing. And in that comes these thoughts and images. But most people are lost in the thoughts and images, believing that is their world and who they are. That they are somebody in that dream. So even if I were to have an imagination that I am Lisa and I have brown hair and I'm walking down the street later to go and buy myself dinner, that is illusion, that is Maya. And it's not that we stop thinking, because thinking is needed, but there is a deep knowing all the time that Maya, illusion, imagination, isn't reality. Like we don't think that all there is and that reality is smell or something. It's like we've taken the mind to be real. And we know that smell is something that comes and goes. It's not like you suddenly smell a fart and that is reality and that's real and that's the way it is or something. You know, it comes and goes. And you know that everybody's interpretation of that smell is different. Yeah, there could be some rude jokes made there, but yeah. So anything you think, anything that you even feel actually, because that's an interpretation, is illusion. It isn't truth. Truth is beyond that. Truth, what you are, reality, is beyond opposites. It's what's here now. It's the watching, the witnessing, as long as witnessing has no colour, boundary, limitation. As long as witnessing is recognised as all things and not separate from all things. No thing and everything. The portal into that infinite space, seemingly, is consciousness. Personalized consciousness. It's something that can be recognized, but it's still limited because you see it. But the teachings of non-duality is the investigation in that, the concentration on that, leads you to the infinite. That without opposites. So consciousness is personalized consciousness. Big consciousness is no thing and all things. So personal consciousness is what comes into the body, and you've got the ability to seemingly move it and direct it, but that is mind activity. That isn't truth, but you use that. So you have this ability to move attention, and then you also have seemingly this ability to turn around and look at consciousness and to rest in consciousness. The I am is the personalized beingness, and that is the other portal to it, the feeling of I am. That is the beingness, the first entry into the body. But ultimately, it's not personalized. When you go into it, you realize that it's infinite. A little bit like when you go into like light or something. You can never find its boundaries. It looks like it's got boundary in comparison to other things, but then when you go into it, you can't ever collect it or find it. It's infinite. That's also reflected actually in all things. So if we were to take a microscope out and try to find what skin was, we would never be able to actually find it. This thing called skin. We'd never be able to actually find this thing called blood. We seemingly can feel the skin, but then when we went in and deeply looked at it, it will begin to disappear into smaller and smaller particles until it all disappears. So we use what we have. While we feel like we've got free will, ultimately there is no free will. We turn inwards and we look at what we are as consciousness and the feeling of I am. And through this investigation and meditation, you disappear into infinity, just like if you were a scientist and you took a microscope and tried to find this definition of this thing called skin. You'd never be able to get there. Just keep going on infinitely. Your nature is infinite, but it's so infinite it's not opposite to finite. You could say it contains both if you really wanted to be specific. It is silent and contains all movement. It is still and contains all movement. It is what's here right now. And it's so radically awake and in love with all things and free. This is the only freedom you'll find in life. Your dream of you will never work out. You will accumulate more and more karma, more and more seeking if you keep investing in it. Your only answer, your only relief is to go to that which is always here, to that which is inherently free. So investigation happens. Who are you? Who are you? So Nisargadatta Maharaj's recommendation, he was my teacher's teacher, he recommended to, at all times, keep the personalized consciousness on the I am. And then he'd say, eventually, when the big consciousness and beingness meet, it's Sat, Chit and Nanda. Consciousness, being, bliss. Or the other way around, but it equals bliss. I always get those words confused. Yeah, when they meet. Ananda Mahima, her recommendation was to stay with the name of God. So Krishna or Kali or Druga. Whatever feels right for you. So she would recommend keep repeating the name of God. That's also what you could do with the I am. So eventually you want to go on to the feeling of I am, but you could also just if you don't know what the feeling is, like just keep repeating I am, which is God anyway. It's the same as Krishna and Kali. And then I give all these prescriptions to you under the understanding that we both know that it's not a prescription. Maybe for you still feel like it is a prescription, but it's a description of something that may or may not happen. So that I might speak about it, and then that body might start practicing that. But it's not actually your own will. One of the most important factors to happen is the destruction of the idea that there is any own will of me or the other, that it is all God's will, that it is all God. And that's like the orgasmic love affair. Like all of this is God, like my hand is moving in God. My words are moving in God. Your looking is moving in God, and it's all making love with itself. There's nothing apart or separate. It's all making love. Nice. Oh, I didn't even get to answer the title. Yeah, I got so wrapped up in talking about what non-duality is. So the person asked the question, I struggle with people's stupidity and ignorance, how to not react? And then the answer is that you have to see them as God. Because then who is stupid? Who is ignorant? In this question, there is blame, there is judgment, there is superiority. There can be a recognition that you have higher intelligence than them. That's, yeah. Like a lot of people, I think, that come to talks or have a higher intelligence. I don't mean to compliment everybody, but it's jnana yoga, wisdom yoga. It's quite a heady, not a heady subject. Ultimately, it's bhakti, it's love, but it takes quite a lot of focus to understand it. It can be quite complex, and it sort of tends to attract those with higher intelligence. So there can be a recognition of that, but to see it as stupidity and ignorance, it's judgment, superiority, and it's belief that they're separate, more than likely. I can't be in your brain knowing, but they are God. Their stupid words, what you call stupid words, are God. Their ignorance is God. Their illusion is God. So you're insulting yourself. You're hating yourself. This is really falling back in love with it all. Everybody's hells and heaven is God. Everyone's dream is God. You're walking in a busy market. It's not like, oh, these people's energies. It's God, 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 God. all these people's thoughts. Today I was at a market and they were like chanting, I think, some football song for like hours, it seemed, with lots of beer. It's God, 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 God chanting. And then the more that this is recognized, the more it turns into love. And your body is going to have pleasure and pain. It's going to have attractions to some people and not to others. But it's this underlying love affair with all things. With all things. Nothing is outside of you. So it's not about how to react or not react. It's asking who is before reactivity. Who is before their action, and where is their action and your action coming from? That is the freedom. That is the freedom. That is the freedom. It is God. What a love affair. In all the sounds, it's God. God speaking to you. It doesn't mean you have to sit and listen to a conversation you're not interested in. It's not talking about therapy here or boundaries. We're saying this underlying, like it's all God. Like more than likely, the more you realize it's God, the more there'll be this authentic movement. You know, not being the nice person or the mean person, just authenticity, which is so unique to all bodies. And what I mean by authenticity is letting God, which is you, act rather than the illusion of you act as a seeking pattern to try and get things from time, to try and get freedom from time. It's acting from this moment, acting from peace rather than fear and illusion. If I stop people being stupid, I will be free. If I stop ignorance, I will be free. If I enlighten everyone, I will be free. This isn't true. Freedom is here, right now, accessible here in this. Who is it that sees the thoughts? Who is it that perceives the other person? And the one that's judging and saying they're stupid is being seen. That's not who you are. That is being seen. Yeah. Okay. So now we go to questions and answers, but before we do that, I must do advertisements. If you want to join these talks live and ask questions, I know you are on YouTube Live, but if you want to join it in Zoom to ask questions, then you can find out how to do that on my website. You can join the Telegram community and you'll get links to the Zoom. And I also do private live streams as well, where I record the introduction and then let people ask questions and answers without being recorded, if you join that community. I also have an event coming up in June in the south of Europe. You're super welcome to join. I have an event coming up at Easter in Berlin, but it's booked out, but you can put yourself on the waiting list. And I also do these really beautiful classes called book clubs, where we study books of masters or sages. But it's not really about studying the words, it's using it as an opportunity to slide into silence. And we do it in small groups of 6. So everyone has the freedom to speak and ask questions and look at what they're avoiding, like what is stopping them slide into that silence. Yeah. So that is that. Okay, we now go to questions. So you can raise your hand, you can write it in Telegram, or you can write it in the chat of Zoom. I'm going to try something new today. I don't know if it will work. I'm going to put on a timer for when people ask questions, because I think it might help make the person asking the question feel more secure to know how long they've got to ask it, and not get lost in time. But it might not work. We try. So I have a timer in Zoom, which I can set up, and the timer will be on me, and I'll put on 2 minutes, and then after 2 minutes the alarm will go off. Yeah. But most probably you won't make it to the 2 minutes. It's not that you have to ask questions for 2 minutes, it's just to cut it off at that. Yeah. So you can raise your hand, or I will answer the written ones. There's some written ones in Telegram. Eric, it seems like the stupider I become, the closer to God I feel. The more I rest in not knowing, the more peaceful and blissful I am. Makes me recall the novel The Idiot. The bozo. Because who you are as consciousness is pure not knowing. Knowing comes from mind and thought. The interesting thing also is, in that space of not knowing, everything is answered, because there is no question. I used to call myself the bozo, but then I kind of stopped, because I think it didn't represent women well, because people didn't understand it, and there's so few female teachers, and then I'm the only female teacher out there. There are more now, but back then there was quite a few, and then I'd be like, I'm the bozo. I know nothing. So you can see that the feeling that other people are stupid comes from the mind. And that's okay, but it's not true, it's illusion. And when you really believe that, it's then seeking and suffering. It's like a judgment onto them. What you are is prior to judgment, right here, right now. And you want to remain in that place of openness and expansiveness that knows nothing. And then thoughts and words come and go, but they're not a truth on anything. Aruna, that reminds me, there is something called a holy fall. I wonder how that relates to this topic today. The holy fall. It's also, in Sufism, like the goal is to become like divinely mad, I think. Or I forget how they call it. Yeah. There has been this kind of natural interest, this is from JT, interest lately to drop from head to chest and go there again. Not in heart, but inwards. Can you say something about the direction of going inwards to inner being? In the end, you discover there's no inwards and outwards. But you start by going inwards. And then you discover that the inside world is the same as the outside world. The reason that we say go inwards is because the person is often in mind, which is in time, this horizontal line, which is seemingly the opposite to going inwards. You're kind of in imagining. So it's like you're going into the actual experience. And sometimes it feels like you drop into the body, you drop deeper into the heart or something. But then you begin to realize that it's even deeper than that. There isn't a body there. The idea that you have a body is illusion too. Everything is illusion. The idea that you are somebody, the idea that your thoughts, the idea that your feelings, the idea that you're the body, the idea that you're your past or objects, that you own anything, it all begins to fade away. And then here you are, this vibrant, alive presence, which is creating spontaneously and is free. Okay, I have to get my timer on. Okay. Yeah, so hopefully this makes the questioners feel more secure. And if the alarm goes off, and yeah, it's not something that you've done wrong. It's a guide. It's the same as when you're practicing putting your attention in attention, or putting the attention in consciousness. From when you notice it, you beat yourself up. Oh, I was lost for like 2 hours. But it's not that. It's like, oh yes, a guide. It's a celebration. Okay, so Ivan, you can unmute yourself. Ivan, before we chat, just to make sure that you've got good microphone, because I know the last 2 times it was a bit difficult for the others and myself. Yeah, you can unmute yourself. Hello? Can others hear him? Oh, I can't hear you, Ivan. Oh, I know why. I got it muted in Zoom. 1 second. Okay, Ivan, you can start now. I think I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. So the dream is about ownership. It's, you're saying like this right now is a dream and it's happening in the real me, the stillness, the awareness, which is simply aware, and it's not putting any meaning. There's no right, there's no wrong, there's no meaning, there's everything is just unfolding, and it's not my doing. These are not my words. It does feel right. I do feel like I'm saying these words, but that's the freedom and letting go of that ownership and saying, "Hey, it's just happening." Am I getting this right?
Oh, this is what this is. This is me judging whether you're getting it conceptually right. Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's more the seeker, the seeker that wants to get the like, oh, I finally got it. Good.
Yeah.
But what happens when you see the dream as dream? You're not taking. I think the suffering, at least for me in my experience, has been like taking the dream as real.
Yeah.
The meaning.
Yeah.
The person says something to me, or I see another person, I think I'm separate from them. It's like it's all based on interpretation. And so when we start to believe, like you said, our thoughts, then it becomes real. I feel like a person, but like you said, that's all happening. I think you said this and it really got my attention. Who you are isn't in yourself.
So what's the question?
I don't really know. I have so many questions, but
yeah, I'm just yeah. I feel like what you're doing is you're presenting like how you see it, and then you're looking to see if I agree with you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
just the way you see the world, just the way you experience life, based on your
You want me to be honest?
recognition.
That's quite a hard thing for me to do, you know, because what happens, like what happened here is it's so radically different from being mind orientated that when I get presented with too many concepts, it's kind of hard for me to follow. It's like I have to really try hard to follow the concepts, to understand what the other person means. But that doesn't mean it's like that for all other teachers, but that's what happens here. So when you're doing that, it's I can hear the sentences, but then to sew it into what you mean, like, takes a lot more effort. And I don't know, there's just something here that just doesn't orientate to putting that much effort into conversations anymore. So it tends to want conversations to be a lot more simpler. But that's not a rejection of you or a rejection of anyone, it's just what happened here. Like, I used to be very interested in the intellect before that awakening. Like, Roger was very conceptual. He used to speak for hours and hours, and I used to listen intently to every word. And then after this shift happened, I found it really hard to follow him. I'd be like, almost like I'm drunk or stoned, you know, like a stoner trying to listen to Roger or Einstein or someone like. So just you saying these concepts and then asking for whether it's the same as what I feel, it's like quite hard work for me. And there's just not an orientation to do that. It's not personal. I just have to follow the flow, you know, I have to follow what this body, what's being written into these bodies, and whether it wants to do something or not wants to do something. And I can't really step out of that. If I step out of that, then pain arises. Like karma arises. I do sometimes step out of it, but I get karma for it. Get a sore head. Sometimes, like, if people are really intellectual and I really follow them, I'm not saying that you're really intellectual, but sometimes I want to puke after. Which is quite ironic because when I was a teenager, I was bulimic, and this was after I don't know how many years that was of the education system, which was so incredibly difficult for me to sit and listen to all these concepts. And then also, like, I had two parents that are computer programmers, so you can imagine, like, this high intellect in my family. Like, my dad was like a walking encyclopedia, and then I think, like, all this energy and then the emotional repression, it kind of like, it was such a relief actually making myself sick when I was a bulimic. I'm not recommending it to anyone. This sounds like a sales pitch for bulimia, but it was like such a relief, like, ugh. And now sometimes when I'm listening to people and they're really intellectual, like, I want to puke, and that's my karma for it. Like, if I don't have the strength to stand up and say I can't do this, because sometimes I don't have the strength to do that because I know it hurts the other person or makes the other person feel insecure, then I feel sick. It's like I get dizzy, like vertigo. Yeah. So yeah, that's nothing. That's not saying anything on you. Like, another person that has awakening might suddenly get like a really strong intellect that can really dissect and look at concepts, but that just didn't happen here. It's like I became a bozo.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting. That the dream is conceptual. So
yeah, totally. Most people are using their mind so much it's making them physically sick because they're using it's like only using one muscle in your body. You know, if you only used, like, you know, one arm muscle or something, it would make you totally off balance. So, and this repetition of a story again, every day, all the time, like it's like a muscle of memory that's just too much. Do you ever watch too much YouTube and then feel sick or something? You know, all the concepts in YouTube.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, watching spiritual videos, just going into self-inquiry, I mean, all of it is conceptual, so it gets overwhelming. And then when I just rest in not knowing without concepts, then that's the only rest that I get. It's like going to sleep, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes you can get teachers that can do that, like dragging into the silence too. And then sometimes they're not because they're not deep enough or something, but because they're a different way of teaching.
Yeah. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ivan.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lalit, you can unmute yourself. I think this timer thing really doesn't work, but we can try.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey.
You often talk about putting our attention on the sense of I am, and I was curious, do you have any kind of words how you could describe how it feels? Because I was just thinking maybe 10 people are doing it and 10 people think, yeah, I'm doing it, but actually just a few of them are doing it, but everyone's thinking, yeah, this is how it should feel. So I was just curious.
Yeah, totally. I think there's different apparent stages to it. So in the end, what it feels like is bliss. Sat Chitananda. So when consciousness and beingness meet, it's bliss. But I don't think that that's how normally people start the practice. So sometimes people start just by saying the word, I am. And then just seeing what happens with that, like, I am. I am. And then often, after a period of getting familiar with that, the I am feeling often goes towards the heart, or towards the sacral or solar plexus chakra. So Ramana Maharshi, I think, said it was in the heart area, the I am. It came in, personalized beingness came in through the heart. But so it is. So then eventually it begins to be a feeling in the heart. So there's different stages to it, and at different times you'll feel different things. Like sometimes maybe everything is hellish in the heart, or empty or numb, so it doesn't mean anything to put it there. So then you might just come back to the chanting of the words. And then there might be a stage where the I am goes into sort of everything. So I am feels kind of around you and in this sort of silent space. And it might feel like it's a silence or bliss or a love. It doesn't matter so much about getting it exactly right. More what you're doing in that apparent stage is focusing the mind. And then through focusing the mind, you're pulling yourself out of story and pulling the attention back to here, and it will gradually get deeper by itself. So it's more that you're wanting to bring the attention back to something. So Nanda Mahima would say, chant the name of God, like so say if you chant Krishna or something. And then I think Nisargadatta would sometimes say the feeling of I am. So don't let any of it trip you up. And if you feel confused as to what the I am is, then just use the words. I am, that's sufficient. How does that land? To nobody. Land where?
It lands somewhere, somehow.
somewhere, somehow, somewhere over a rainbow.
I can't really say like where.
That's beautiful.
The only thing that I can somehow say, like, because today and yesterday I was like at a seminar, and when I was listening to the teacher, like I often like I just have like issues like to hear, to really like focus on the words, and I know there's like some kind of expansion, but it's not, there's still like some sense of like duality. It's not like
Yeah.
all boundaries disappear, but there's like a lot going out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Yeah, it comes a point when you don't really need to listen to the meaning and make sense of the words. So you don't really need to sew it together. Like, meaning is such an amazing thing. So I'm learning German. Ich denke, du ist aus Deutschland. I'm terrible there.
I'm from Berlin.
Yeah, from Berlin. I think I'm terrible at speaking German. But what amazes me about learning a different language is like, it's not just about learning the sounds, it's then making meaning. Like, that's so amazing, like a way our mind is making meaning. That's the hard part, is you can put the sentence together. I can hear the words in the sentence, but then making meaning out of it, because that's what we're doing all the time with words. It's like poems. We're always speaking poems to each other. And then I love it, like how, like, you use, it's a bad translation, but you use the word go for something working, like the car doesn't work anymore. You would use gehen, I think, gehen. And then in English, we would say work as in your job. You know, it doesn't work anymore. So like the same word we use for job. So Arbeit, like if you used Arbeit, like the car doesn't Arbeit anymore. Like, meaning is so amazing.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
No, I just love it, like all these different meanings. And I don't know if I can ever actually learn another language. But I'm amazed by people that speak 2 languages. I think, what an art! Like, your brain is doing like acrobats. But anyway, when you're listening to the teacher speaking, there's a point where you can begin to let go of constructing their meaning, because that's a lot of work. Like, the job has been done where your mind has been really bent in many different angles. And as you begin to let it go, you can begin to hear them on a really deep level, where you can kind of understand what they're saying, but at the same time, you can't properly follow them. And then you're hearing them on a really silent level. It's like this joint meditation that you're doing. Yeah, it's really you don't aim for that, you know. So next time you go, don't aim for that, you know. Let it happen when it happens, you know. Don't aim to try and meditate on the words. You listen to the words, and if it begins to take you out of the words, then let it. If it doesn't, then let the words acrobat with the mind, you know, like bend the mind.
Yeah, the funny thing is, like, it was not a satsang or anything. It was for my traineeship to become a psychotherapist. It was not a satsang or anything.
Yay! But that's it. God is speaking to everyone at all times. That's it. So even if it's like a really learning how to fix a bike or something, like if it begins to come, like let that happen. Like, God is all places at all times. Traditionally, it tends to happen in satsang with a satsang speaker, but if it's happening in your traineeship for becoming a therapist, then and then if you maybe don't understand what they're saying, then that's God's will, you know. If there's something you've got to do, you got to trust God's will. You got to trust God. Nice. Thanks, Lalita.
Thank you.
Lalit, sorry, not Lalita. Lalit. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Did you have a question again, Ivan, or did you just not put your hand down? So I go on to Paul. Paul, you can unmute yourself.
Hello.
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 Hello. Is anybody there? No. Okay, I just have to check your audio with mine. I'm mixing as well.
1, 2, 1, 2. Hey, Mr. DJ.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a very technical question.
Oh yeah.
About I am and inquiring.
Yeah.
So after a while, it goes like without thinking. It just goes on autopilot, let's say. And I asked that a couple of moments ago on Telegram, but I will repeat here. What's the relation between this feeling, that I'm danced version, contracted, bodily sensation, because I'm into embodied practices. So for me, the inquiry, what it brought me was either here or here, this kind of.
Yeah.
So I looked into it for like 6 months, and then it started changing into a bit nauseous feeling, let's say, or like a cloudy feeling. And then I was oversensitized. Is there a word like that in English? I'm not a native English speaker.
I'm not very good at English either. I failed my GCSEs. No, I didn't fail. I got a D, which is like C is the acceptable, D is like the unacceptable.
So,
but I understand what
like,
you mean.
It's like nervous system noise. Like 24 hours a day. It wasn't unpleasant. It was just like I kind of fixated on all bodily sensations at the same time. Feeling.
Like almost like Vipassana kind of thing.
Like a sauna feeling.
Like a sauna feeling.
Like a steam, but inside. Yeah, and I'm asking because then I've kind of, I wasn't a very good student of the method, so I kind of let it go.
Right.
But my question is, what's the relation between this I am? What Nisargadatta Maharaj says when he says keep the attention on this I am feeling, can we say it's put an equal sign between this contracted or cloudy feeling and this I am being feeling, or we need to go deeper?
Yeah. So the cloudy feeling that you're feeling, or you felt, that cloudy energy feeling is the illusion part, and the I am is below that, behind that. So it comes out of the I am. So that's the fog. That what you're describing is the fog.
Yeah, fog.
Yeah. Yeah. So and it's in sensations, and the sensations aren't separate from thinking. Like they're all in the same world. So like becoming aware of it is a really important part. But then there has to be going beyond that. And so I would recommend, if you can now, just in the future, like not ignoring the body. Like you keep the body in focus, but just try to focus on the words I am and see where that leads you. So at all times, you're just repeating, I am. Just
Am
see
I?
just see where that leads you. I am.
Am I?
Your practice, you've invented a new one. Am I? Am I?
What? Can it be also an inquiry? Because like the question, what? What? Because I have that naturally, like,
What? Yeah.
what the
What the bleep is this? Yeah.
multiple times a day it appears. So
Um,
yeah, I didn't. This fog actually, I from the perspective of my story,
Yeah.
it's a good thing because that kind of reconnected me with this,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
felt sense.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah.
And I was cut off here.
Yeah.
And in
Totally.
the
Yeah.
solar plexus level for my whole life. So when it started going back, although it's a fog and not yet there or something, it kind
Yeah.
of
And so when you
made
do,
me.
yeah, when we're aware, yeah, when you do the I am, like you're not cutting off, like it's not in the mind. You're not cutting off, but you're
Yeah.
allowing it to bring you to presence.
It's this
But
tingling feeling arises from
yeah,
solar plexus,
yeah,
like this beardy,
yeah,
flamey beardy stuff.
yeah.
And so when I'm relaxed, it spontaneously sometimes like just goes on its own, and I feel like ASMR without any voice, like
Yeah.
like
Oh, that might be some Kundalini stuff going on there, but I don't know. But just if you stay with the I am and try and incorporate that in, just because the reason that I suggest that is because the bodily sensations are important to incorporate, but there has to be this moving beyond the body sensation. So I feel like the I am is like this
and looking
openness.
for the who's experiencing this cloud, this fog. Is it?
Yeah, you can carry on doing that every so often.
Because it's the same.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 here,
Yeah.
Ah. Can I
Yeah,
have little tiny quick questions?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment though on this. It's really good that you did this. So for a lot of people, they actually, especially Western people, they often start in Vipassana meditation, which is body meditation. So I did as well. And it's really good because often we are just like my Buddhist teacher, he used to say, we're like walking eyes and hands, like the hands are typing on the keyboard. And then we're just eyes and hands, that's like we just see our hands, and then we're just up here in the around this energy. Yeah, like, and we're seeing our hands moving and gesturing. Yeah, exactly. And the body is like a non-existent. It's something that flaps around in the background. And so doing this is like a really important part to come back into the body. And then the next part is to go beyond the body. So first of all, there has to be bringing back to attention the body, and then going beyond the body.
Mind. When the body feels seen, it's so amazing feeling. Like it's a moving feeling, like watching a very romantic story.
Yeah.
Like right now, when I'm talking about the body kind of is kind of grateful and generates this. But I wanted to ask, have you in your practice during the have you tried this sliding between methods that are focused base to this methods that are like open awareness, like switching between inquiring and then opening awareness,
Totally.
opening awareness? Because I've noticed for me magic happens during the slide when and sometimes spontaneously when I'm saying fuck it, no, I cannot do this anymore, then I'm relaxing. But so the hypothesis is there might be a good place for everyone when those two perspectives, like maybe modes of attention, or when this backgroundy approach, like input output consuming reality, is mixed or overlapped, or maybe slides into focused approach, and then back and forth, and then stuff.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. I don't really remember exactly what I did. It was quite a long time ago now, but I do remember I used to describe often this flip-flopping between like this more focused and like working on the self, and then what I called an expansion, like these two things. But it kind of felt like it was a natural happening. Like there would be this investigation and then opening, and then didn't feel so much like effort.
Flip-flopping, I need to write that down. That's a nice term for it.
Yeah.
Better than sliding.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hey Lee, you can unmute yourself.
Hi Lisa.
Hi.
Hi, nice to see you. This is my first live stream, so thank you for having me.
Yeah, pleasure. Nice to meet you.
I wanted to comment on something you said earlier about, of course, most of us identify or seemingly feel we are the person who is experiencing life, the feeler of feelings, the seer of sights, and so forth. And I had a recent experience where I was resting, I'll say resting and being, just resting in my own existence, sitting quietly, and suddenly there was the sound of a dog barking outside, and it startled me, and then I felt fear, but then I saw it unfold almost as if in slow motion. It was obvious to me that the sound of the dog barking was heard by consciousness. That caused a startle in the body, and then the thought came up, I'm feeling fear. So it was almost like the object of the dog barking evoked the subject who now felt fear. I could see it unfolding. I could see subject and object coming up from nothing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And this is, I think, what Nisargadatta calls like the activity of witnessing. I don't know for sure because I'm not able to go inside your experience, although I can go inside as consciousnesses, but not as like, I can't jump into your body. Like, so this movement back from the experience to the watching. And then everything is seen as a phenomena that's happening in the body. It's completely impersonal. So some teachers, like Ananda Mahima, she used to speak completely in the third person. So she would say the body, this body, not all the time, but often, because it's absolutely not who you are. So if this body, I'll talk about Lisa now, so if this body experiences fear, it's not me, I'm not afraid. It's this body that's afraid. When we believe it's us, then we've got all types of other things going on with it. And then we've got the attempt to get out of it. Whereas when we're resting in ourself as the watching, as the experiencer, then it's free to come and go as it likes. And it doesn't have
it was
to...
There was a recognition that something is seeing this person who's feeling fear. One moment it seemed like I was identifying as the person, and then in a heartbeat I could see that no, I'm behind that, I'm seeing that come up.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Thank you.
But then as soon as that happens, then I seem to get sucked back into thinking.
Yeah,
because,
that's the flip-flopping, and then you go back into thinking, and then eventually through time, which is an illusion, so actually in no time, but through apparent time, there will be more and more resting as the watching and the separation from the experiencing. And then the deeper and deeper that happens, the watching will become all things and no things, so then there will be no position of watching. So it's seemingly like a slide, you know. You start off like investigating this consciousness and then moving the attention to the consciousness and separating out from the body-mind mechanism. That's what Nisargadatta called the witnessing activity. And then from that, it's like a slide into the infinite, you know, slide into the big consciousness, and then it's effortless. When you're going through the flip-flopping, it feels like effort, or it feels like you may be doing it or not doing it, or causing it or not causing it. But that's illusion. Like I think I read once, or someone told me, you know, like when we make a choice, it's already been decided in our body 6 seconds prior to our conscious recognition of it, which is crazy. So if you're looking at a banana and you're thinking, shall I eat this banana or not? 6 seconds before you start eating it, you'd already decided that you're going to eat it. And then the thought comes up and it claims it, I am going to eat this. So it's always recognizing that functioning, that the body claims that it does things, but it's actually happening. And this teaching is really important, to let go of all feelings of regret, of remorse, of shame. There can be feelings of shame, but not this, or guilt, but not the belief in it. Like it lets go of all that complex web of storytelling about what I've done wrong or what I should do or shouldn't do. So giving it all back to God is important for breaking that. And then on the other side, when you give it all back to God, that's the love affair, that's the Shakti, that's the feminine side. That's when everything is moving in God. So my words come from God, the space comes from God, the computer comes from God, the light comes from God, and then it's like love is moving in itself.
You used the term claiming, and that did seem to be the energy, either a claiming or assuming that I'm the one that is feeling this. Whereas you could say no one was feeling it. It's just by mental habit, I assume or claim to be the one who's feeling it.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Everything you interpret from the outside is a mirror reflecting back the story. So whatever you see in the outside is reflecting back and showing you your story. So if you see someone as bad, then it reflects back to you you're good. If you see someone as good, then it reflects back to you maybe that you're bad. Like it's always, everybody uses the outside world as, and the stories they tell of the outside world to create their identity. So no story about the outside world is true. There is relative truth, like that you're not sitting in a hurricane now. But it's, most of the time the mind is using it to create its identity. You see someone as better than you because you want to be lower than. You see yourself as better, someone as lower than you because you want to be better than. You see someone as perpetrating you because you want to be victim. You see someone as victim because you want to perpetrate. Like it's all illusion, all illusion. whatever you see out there. The only truth is what you are as stillness. The only truth is that which does not know. There's relative truth that we use to communicate communally. You know, like I am eating a piece of bread now as opposed to eating a cucumber or something. But it's seeing all is illusion. All is illusion. And you can use the outside world to find out what you're telling yourself about who you are. Because by discerning what you believe you are, you see what you are not. By discerning that I see myself as a good person, for example, you see that that is not true, that is illusion. And that feeling is illusion. All illusion. Whatever you see me as now, just in this moment as this example, is to create you as something. When you see me as nothing, then you truly see me. Yeah, thank you, Lee. Yeah, Bodhidharma, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, Lisa.
Hello.
I wanted to continue from another conversation that you had with Lalit.
Yeah.
When you described that he was in a conversation, you had like this expansion, and then later on you said at a certain point, if you let go of trying to grasp the meaning, intuitively you will still somehow get it. And I kind of know what you mean with it, but when there are like longer conversations and they are conceptual, especially because I'm going to start at a new working place soon, at a certain point it's just too long, and or like the first sentences are just gone, and I have the feeling like I just get it and holding on to, which I also don't want to do.
Yeah.
And then there's like the pressure of trying to deliver something for work, which is getting hard if you don't get it.
Yeah.
So I was like, did you also had situations like this when you were still seeking?
I don't remember, that was a long time ago. But but what I can say now from this experience is that if I don't follow God's will, I get what we could call sin or karma. And I call that like old seeking patterns or old dynamics that come up in me. So if I'm with people, or even in a talk, a non-dual talk, and I don't let God speak because there is an idea that something else should happen, I get karma, which is pain. And so that's the, it doesn't seem to remove me or something from what I am, but it's just this karma that's got. There is pain, or what I call pain, that has got, I get something back. I use karma in different ways. Sometimes I call karma just like the way of the body, but like pain comes. So for me, it predominantly comes from compassion. So somebody's maybe being very mental or telling these very mental stories, and the illusion that comes up here is like I feel compassion for the other person, and so there is a not cutting them off. But if I do that, then I get pain. If I So I have to. So it's quite a good teacher, you know. It's like the body gets trained again and again and again. It's like electric shock. So, you know, in your job, you have to discern that, you know, what is more important to you. And I'm not suggesting becoming homeless or losing your job or, you know, being unwise with money or anything. But you have to discern, you know, what's more important for you. If you don't listen to God, you're going to get pain. You're going to get what I call karma or sin. You're going to get a comeback. Because if you listen to someone that's very mental in the story for too long, and there isn't a wanting to, it will create pain inside of the body. Or somebody's intellect, you know, and there will be a charge that has to be let go of. But if you listen to God's will in that situation, you have to take the consequences of the fact that you might piss your boss off, and annoy your boss. So, yeah. And I have to take the consequences that the other person might be really hurt, you know, because they really want to be seen in their pain, or they really want to be seen in their story. Can make people really furious. You're not listening to me. It's my God-given right. Everyone feels like they've got a God-given right to speak and to be heard. I mean, Ananda, have you read much about Ananda Mahima? Like, her story is, like, what she did, how she... I mean, it's not her that does it. How she was so... had so much conviction to follow God's will in every instant. But it's not really her that does it. It's that there's a surrendering of will, and it's like those urges come up and they're no longer questioned. Like, that's the expression of God. I mean, to be really clear, we're living in a suffering society. So when you're interacting with people that haven't had the shift, then often they're going to be very mind orientated and very seeking orientated. Apparently Ananda Mahima's husband, she used to go in these states of samadhi and these states of bliss, and and she couldn't do her household chores. And she also went into silence for 3 years and wouldn't speak. And apparently he used to like shout and beg at her to do something, you know, like really scream, like, you must do something. I'm gonna take another wife. And if he took another wife, she's, you know, there's no chance for her. But yet there was that conviction, like, this is her path. He was like outraged, apparently. You can't just not do your job suddenly. Just like I mean, this subject is really full on. I mean, this is why in India they have this tradition of sadhus, you know, stepping away from society, because, and then they also the caste system. I'm not agreeing with the caste system. There's lots of problems in it, but it was all to protect this, like, this spiritual realization when you're no longer seeking, like, to be able to really follow that. But it's not appropriate in the West. There's no option for you to be a sadhu here, you know. It's like, it's different in India. It's coming over to the West, you know, and there's got to be this integration period where we can be these sadhus in society. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Bodhidharma.
Thank you.
Okay, so some questions in Zoom chat. Hi Lisa, this is ML. Conceptually, it makes sense to me that in deep sleep there is only awareness without any mind or sensations to be experienced, and then no memory of it. But how do I know this for sure when I don't have a direct experience of it? Do you have a direct experience of awareness when in deep sleep, or do you just assume it must still be there? That's such a good question. I just know that's the way it is. Yeah, just a deep knowing, because I know what awareness or the big consciousness is. Thank you. Ivan says, if the I am practice recognition, a recognition there is no I, only this formless present stillness with no separation. The I am, it's so deep, the I am practice, you have to try it. Yeah, there will be that. And then eventually the big consciousness and the impersonal I am, which is beingness, will meet. So it'll stop being someone that's putting their attention in I am, and then there'll be ananda, bliss, which is recognition of self, home. Your home is bliss. Blissfulness is something that comes and goes in the body, but your home is love, is bliss. Barney, thank you so much, Lisa, and all. See you next time. Peter, is it the same as boundaries, or more what you said from Roger? Do exactly what you want in any given moment, knowing there is nobody doing it. Yeah, but that is such a deep teaching of Roger's. You know, I misunderstood it a lot, and I thought that that meant following seeking. But it means do exactly what you feel like doing, below seeking, coming directly from presence, which feels like love and expansion. But yeah, you can explore it and see what happens for you. Okay, oh, we've got a lot of questions in here. Paul W. What's the relation between being this contracted, dense body sensation behind eyes and or in chest and the I am? This feeling relaxes into tingling sometimes, and then there is a cloudy feeling. Oh, I did that. Pal, we already spoke. Mariki. Some months ago, I had what feels like a heart awakening, and since then I've noticed that my emotions are much more intense. I react faster when I feel sadness, frustration, or anger, but I also feel joy and compassion more deeply. It seems like I've connected with a deeper part of myself, and emotions that were previously suppressed are now surfacing. Is this common experience? And if so, how can I best navigate this heightened emotional state to maintain balance and not be overwhelmed by my feelings? Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, this is normal. This happens. It's really beautiful. It's like you stop being your story of what's happening with the feelings, and you're being the feelings. So now, like, doing body work will help settle the feelings. So yeah, there's all different types of body work that you could do. You could do somatic body work, yoga, massage, breath work, hypnotic therapy. Oh no, not hypnotic therapy, hypnotic breathing. I've forgotten what they're called. On my website, there's different recommendations of therapies that you can do, but anything that's body work. I really like breathing work and movement. But I did a lot of acupuncture, I did a lot of Ayurvedic massage, spiritual massage, emotional release massage. I did Qigong, exercise. I did bits of yoga, but I was never so keen on it. But now I really love it. Yin yoga. I did yin yoga. I only like yin yoga, let's be honest. I did dancing. I did thighs rhythms. All types of body work. And this will help settle down all those repressed emotions. If you can't understand them, you could also work with someone to understand them better. Deeper into them. Thanks, Marika. And then eventually you will see there is nobody that's having emotions, and emotions are God's emotions. So the wall is angry, the wall is sad, life is sad, not you are sad. How do you recognize when a spiritual relationship is overwhelming? Well, it's, if you're struggling in a relationship, then it's always better to speak with somebody that's good in relationships. Like, you can either reflect it back with friends, or you could pay somebody to reflect stuff back about relationships to you, about dynamics. But in relationship to non-duality, you can look at that overwhelming relationship and see how that creates you, them being overwhelming or it being overwhelming, and how that creates the idea of you. Every thought, every feeling, every idea is illusion. So everything you see another as, you can always use to reflect back of how you're seeing yourself. and that it's illusion. What is not illusion is that which you are, the stillness, the presence, the no mind, the big consciousness. Aruna, okay, this is the last question. I think the sadhu idea would have been great for my injury rehab. I would have got better sooner if I had 3 years of doing nothing to heal the ligament. It should come over to the West. Nice, yeah, thank you everyone. If I didn't get to someone's question, then you can ask again next Sunday. Yeah, so now for this part of the talk, I would like to go around and acknowledge everybody that is in Zoom and just have a couple of seconds in silence with you all. Yeah, so if you can turn your video on, that would be fantastic, but if not, then that is possible too. So sweet, there's a couple of people with their dogs on their laps. It's like the dog is the hot water bottle. Yeah, Lucy was never a lap dog. I would have loved her to be. Yeah, so yeah, just read your name and I will just look at you and you can look at me. It's like such a perfect way of meeting someone, just to look at them. So naked and bare and vulnerable. We use words often to not really see. Okay, so Lee. Bodhidharma. Natasha. Brian. Lalit. Pao. W. Shane R. Thomas M. Jenny T. Asbjorn. Petter. Angela. Leanne and dog. Josh. Peter B. Melody. Tony. Claire V. And dog. Risha. Stacy. Tom W. Just so you know that the pictures are changing places. So if I'm looking at you and I'm moving my eyes, it's because you've changed. I'm still looking at you. Yeah. Aruna. Emma. Izzy. Deepa. Irina. Ryan R. Eric. ML. Isabel R. Is there anyone I didn't do? You can give me a wave. I did everyone. I think. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Yeah, thank you everybody in Zoom. Yeah, I really, really wish you everything and really appreciate the contribution from everybody. Yeah, lots of love. Bye. And so that leaves you in YouTube. Is there anybody still there? There's 78 people still watching. I'm not sure. How many people there were before? Yes, I really wish you everything. Yeah. Not one or two or three things, but every God-blessed thing.